So if the camera angle has changed, it's because my camera died. Now, earning £1,579 when I lived in my old house was fine. My rent was £975. I lived off of £500. So that meant bills, utilities, everything, £500 and food. Okay. I lived off of. Okay, cool. That was no problem at all. But I moved here. That money wasn't gonna help here. No. What? How would I provide everything cover after I've paid my rent? Make it make sense to me. Okay, so we've got to go to this. I got fired from that job due to my attitude. Now, my attitude was probably stink, I'm not gonna lie, but I was fired because apparently the way I spoke to customers was inappropriate. Okay, so as in, I had a customer call in and he was like, oh, I want to see my contract, tell me what my contract is. Now, I don't know anybody who's worked in a call center, you cannot see anything that was purchased in store. They have a different policy from when you purchase in store, when you purchase online, or when you purchase over the phone. There is completely and utterly different policies, okay? Now, this customer purchased in store. We can't see those details at all. We can't find it on the account. They were like, well, the process was incorrect and we didn't believe your attitude was right while she was explaining it to the customer, that you're unable to find his details. And you advised him he would get a call back from a TL. Obviously, because he requested it. But they wasn't happy at the fact that I closed the complaint. And I closed the complaint because I passed the details to my TL. Why would I keep the complaint open if I have already resolved part of my complaint that I've had with him? He goes to the TL, she calls him back, and she tells him the same thing. We aren't able to see your details because you didn't purchase it over the phone or online. Simple. And apparently saying that to the customer was rude. The other one was simply because the customer was like, oh, I'm owed some discounts. I thought the discounts will follow over because I've been a loyal customer, blah, blah, blah. We all know at point of purchase, you get your discounts. We all know this. We've all purchased something in life. So we know this by now. We know discounts only follow on if you've done it yourself online or you still work for the same company. We all know this when it comes to discounts. I'm sure we all know these type of deals for anything we purchase. So I'm explaining to the customer, they were like, oh, and it's the right process. So none of it is the wrong process. I've told both customers. They were just like, your attitude was wrong on the calls, simply because you could have done more and tried to find out what discount, which I did, and they're not entitled to a discount that comes with the contract plan. No one in that company gets to keep a discount that came with the contract plan. You get to keep discounts that someone gave you, that you've done for your workplace or say. So I got fired also because of being in after call work. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Every call. No. What? Hello. Nah. Don't you feel ashamed calling in like that though? Don't you? No, be realistic too. I would get it if there was a flag on the account and it said you called 7 times. I know that feeling, so I get that frustration. But on the first call, first call. You think you can do that? No, not at all. I will end the call. I'm the type of person to end the call if you're screaming, if you're shouting, if you're being abusive, if you try to end in a race or anything like that. Like, what type of color? You have people calling in. I bet you're this color. I bet you this color. I bet you're Becky. I'm like, wow, what's going on here? You know, people can't tell when you're over the phone and you're speaking. When you speak English, unless you have learned from a child an African language, you do not have that dialect at all. Okay? So when people are calling in, I've had people trying to say, this person obviously must have been black, because I don't think they would have said it if they were white. They were like, oh, what, are you white? Are you racist to black people? I'm on the call like, I'm not even going to acknowledge this because this is crazy. I've had white guys trying to say, oh, are you black? Your name, da 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 da. Are you trying to be some type of way? I don't really want to talk. Can you believe how often you get these types of people calling in? I've never I probably have, yeah. I'm not too sure, but I've never had, I've never had this type of call, but I've had multiple agents complain about it, talking about, oh, the person goes, I can't stand these friggin', let's say monkeys or some shit, and the agent will go, oh, who are you referring to? Because he sounds British, so he doesn't know the race. You can't really tell if you're born in this country and it's your first language. You can't. Even if you speak a Cockney accent, you still cannot tell. You can't. How can you tell? You're over the phone. And then he was like, oh, something along the lines of, yeah, I can't stand them, they need to get out of my country. He goes into further, like, what type of people are you talking about? He was like, those black cunts, da, 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 da. And I thought, when he explained the story, I understood, like, he's not gonna make that up at all. So I believed that story. And I thought, so what did they do? Got cold down. So I asked them, what did the company do? The company didn't do anything. I said, what? That doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't they do that for abuse over the call? This is a worldwide company, bro. A worldwide company. No, sorry, not worldwide. UK based. Sorry, I don't know why I do this. It's just known everywhere, the United Kingdom. But it is known in the UK, this one company, like it has 2 letters in it, okay? It's known everywhere. And you're telling me they didn't do anything of that call? The person's account wasn't suspended. They wasn't put in VIP. They wasn't, like, nothing was done about that situation. The team leader didn't forward it on. The team leader didn't take the right precautions on that matter. They didn't console the agent on that matter either. And it's just like, well, this is kind of ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like, this is meant to be a big company, and you're telling me they don't support the agents, but they make you work for 40 hours a week for £1,579.60 something every month, and you're trying to tell me that they didn't help you in that situation. They didn't console you. They didn't ask if you're right. They didn't ask if you want to take off on calls. And they said if you did, it would be unpaid. What? Even though he's basically saying it about yourself to your face. And that's how they reacted. I'm not gonna lie, after I heard that, I wasn't too keen on working in this company because there isn't a lot of people of diversity there. You've got one team leader who's black. One. There are over 1,000 people that work from home and that upload their pictures. Every single person uploads their pictures, their names. There's like one Asian woman. So every campaign is different every 3 years or something like that. And everyone who started from the beginning had to upload their photos of who they are, etc. And I kid you not, I thought to myself, this doesn't really make sense. How is it possible this is meant to be, they advertise diversity everywhere. Yeah, we are diverse. Like I see their billboards and I think to myself, I work for your company. I work for your company as an agent, and I've never really met a TL that's been black. I've never met a TL that's been Asian. I've never met a TL that's Arab. There is one TL there, but he works on a Saturday and Sunday, and he just he doesn't really care. Like if I show you the conversation I had with him, he was he was trying to get at me. We had a conduct meeting, yeah, and he was trying to get at me. He was like, "You're meant to ask customers personal questions. You don't ask them any form of personal questions." And I thought, well, my job is entitled to explain to them their bill. Like my job is to advise them of the services they can get in regards to their phone bill. I'm not a sales agent. I'm not meant to sell them products. I'm not meant to give them certain things. I'm not told to do that at all. It doesn't say in my job description that I'm meant to come out of my job description and start being a sales agent and trying to get more sales over broadband when I'm not in broadband. But when I tell you they pressure you, and I've had their broadband. They've just joined with another major company and I've had their broadband and it's awful. It's awful. Their broadband is awful, bro. No, I don't care what anybody has to say. In regards to that company, it's not diverse. It's not diverse at all. The people that work there made my heart shiver. Not as in I'm scared. I'm scared, blood. I've got anxiety. How are you telling me you've been in the same minimum wage job for 23 years? How are you telling me this? The job started on £7.50 or £6.50 when it first came out. Yeah, £7.50 and £6.50. We all know 13 times. That was pretty decent. 2010, 2013 time. When she said that to me, I said to her, what? That doesn't make sense. She goes, yeah, she's been there for 23 years. You know, she's always been at the job. And I said, do you work from home? She goes, no, she goes in the office. So I'm thinking, how? 23 years. I'm scared to even be here for 3 years, 2 years. And you're telling me you've been here for 23 years. Now, don't get it twisted. She's from up north. Up north is cheap, blood. Up north is cheap. She was telling me her background, etc. Most of the agents are actually really willing to just talk to you and tell you about themselves, how long they're there and what they do, etc. So when they used to tell me, like I've spoken to so many, 10 years, 23 years, 13 years, 9 years, I thought to myself, what? 9 years? And they're in the same position I'm in, the same billing department, etc., or collections department, and they would be telling me this, and I just think to myself, why would you stay in this job for 23 years doing the same. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna bash anyone who wants to do that. That's up to you. If you want to stay and work for a company that has no progression for you, that's on you, if you're willing and able to accept that. But from the age of 16, when I first got my job, I just went up ladders, bro. I just got job after job after job, and if I didn't like it, I quit. That's probably like how I got to that situation. I just quit. If I didn't enjoy it, if I knew there was no benefit, if I knew this isn't gonna benefit my future, I'd quit. Because I always ask the agents, how long have you worked there? What progressions have you seen? You know, what has made you intrigued to stay in this job? And you know what they utter? I need a little money. And I think to myself, wow. So it's not because you enjoy the job. It's just because you're broke. And I get it, everybody's fucking broke. But that doesn't mean you can't be broke and have a career that you enjoy and that you want to progress in, right? What? I'm sorry, but we weren't taught this in English. We weren't taught this in school. I was never taught you should give up on your hopes and dreams in school. I was never, ever taught that. Why have I seen so many... Do you get where the anxiety comes from? Maybe it's just me. I don't want to give up on myself. I don't want to give up on something I can do, that I believe in. And these people are just like, yeah, you know, this isn't something they ever wanted to do. They fell into it just because they really needed a job, because they just lost their job and they've been there for 13 years. And it's just like, oh my gosh. Maybe you got complacent. People keep telling me, listen, don't get complacent. Don't get complacent. You know why you're there. Like, get it, cut it. And yeah, that's kind of what happened. But then again, I didn't want to get, not fired. I didn't want to quit. I wanted to get fired. Yeah, because I thought to myself, if I get fired, then it's meant to be, bro. And I can move on to the next, honestly. Because I can't do it. I can't live a life where I'm meant to find it acceptable just to hear people moan and complain about the same damn thing each day, day in, day out. And I was starting to become a robot. No, let me go. Let me go. It's exactly how I felt. Let me go. Like, people are making me scared. What do you mean? 23 years. Wow. Minimum wage. And you know, after you reach a limit, your pay doesn't keep increasing, you know. I hope you know this. It's not like they go up every year, a year. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works, bro. That's not how it works. And I just thought to myself, wow. It only works when it comes to the price increase, if that makes sense. So if the last 4 years, your pay has been over a certain limit and it's nowhere near the minimum wage, then you get paid the same amount. Or you might get like a few pence added on. Bro, I kid you not. I was happy to leave. Happy. Do you know what it feels like? You're just getting fatter. You're sitting on a desk. You eat your food at the desk. You hear people complaining. Like, you get depressed, bro. You get depressed, bro. This depression is coming from people calling. You get depressed, bro. You just get depressed. I do not, by any means, want to be depressed with people doing this type of shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. And you know, the only thing that didn't allow me to be like that is looking up at my screen and trading. If I was not doing that, I would solely wake up. Oh my god, keep it. I'm telling you now, I would do that every single day. Every single day, because that job has no progression. What? I'm gonna become a team leader and then do the same freaking things, only I get to increase the money I credit back to your account. Or I become a deputy team leader where I just manage the team leaders and set meetings. Oh, nice. What a nice job. But where's the progression in that? Because once you get to a deputy team manager, you're an ops manager. And if you're an ops manager, where are you going next? Do you know people who have become ops managers leave? Because there's like no progression next. There's just no progression next. And then you could be a business teacher, so you teach people. Like he was telling me, he's been there for 10 years, so it would have been 12 years, because he was still there. He was still there at the beginning of 2024, well, ending of 2023, I would say. And he just did it. Do you know, all he did was talk to us about how we did it for 2 weeks, let us have our break day in, day out, and he just talks again. There's no real practicing. There's no real practicing because we don't even have our equipment yet. We're just doing training. If you are in a dead-end job with no progression, and you need progression to be motivated, or you need to believe in your future, do the job until you've made the money to move on to the next. Okay? If you get fired whilst you're through it, then save your money and do something you're good at doing. Because, boy, man, I know this is probably the worst advice to give in 2024, but honestly, what are you gonna do? Stick at the shit job and let life get worse? Or minimum wage? No, you can't. I know you can earn minimum wage for a part-time to like save or do something a little more, but I hope you know you can't buy no house on minimum wage. If you can, then obviously you're not in UK. You're not in the UK. You must be up north, and you must be on a farmland or something. You must have bought a little piece of land and thought, I'm gonna cut down these trees that's here and use them as my home. Because life is getting worse. What? You need money. Minimum wage isn't doing that for anybody. And now they're gonna change it to a 4-day week in the UK. Well, that would be lit. Everybody would enjoy that. I have no complaints about that at all. 36 hours a week, I have no complaints. But at the same time, a minimum wage. No, there should be like something set that minimum wage has to be £15 upwards, which is national living wage. But yeah, I don't want to ramble.